One of my good friends said, Leanne, I've got a gas fireplace in my master bedroom, and I love that thing. But every time I turn it on, Sam thinks we're going to do it. I can't even enjoy my own fireplace. And this is what's crazy. This Invisalign tray, if I don't have it in, if I'm soaking it in some Polydent, and I forget about it, my husband's like, but if I pop that Invisalign tray in, he's like, good night. He really does not believe in fancy cars. He doesn't think anybody needs a nice car. My children drive old, beat-up cars, and what he does for me, he'll buy me a car about a year old, pay cash for it, and then make me drive it the rest of my life. I finally had to put my foot down because I was driving a 2009 white Honda Pilot, and they're wonderful cars, but if you don't know what that model looks like, it looks like I was delivering Lay's potato chips. I never felt pretty in it. It had over 239,000 miles on it when lights started flashing in it saying, get out, Leanne, get out. When we went to that little Christian school, there was a lot of Air Force fighter pilots there that teach that train people, and they've got on those jumpsuits with those weighted things in the back, and they had those hats on, and everybody had their hair shaved and all that, and so that school had a big thing where it was like Daddy Day, where your dad comes and talks about what they do for a living. And so they had these fighter pilots like, Maverick, coming with this big thing on their head with that thing, and these children were fascinated, and my boy was fascinated, and for a long time wanted to go in the military and was just fascinated by it. My poor husband had to go and talk about installation in the side of mobile homes. But he took a video and it showed men blowing installation in the side of these houses. And the kids kind of liked that. And then I brought extra candy and threw it at little kids. They're trying to potty train him, and they asked me for advice. I'm not good at that. I never got that. I had 3 children, and I was never good at that. We'd be at a grocery store, and mine would be in either, Superman panties or little princess panties, and doo-doo balls would just fall out. At the grocery store. And I would think, did anybody see that? I don't have anything in my purse to pick it up with. Is some little child gonna think it's a milk dud? Just keep on moving, everybody. Just keep on moving. I got hired to do a fundraiser right outside of Detroit, and it was darling, and it was a bunch of nuns. It was nuns and fun people, and there was a raffle and a lot of drinking. But I had been at home, and Chuck Morgan and I both got sick with some horrible cough, and I had gotten codeine cough syrup, which is a controlled substance, and they don't let you have much of it. And I was coughing my head off, and I thought, oh no, I'm not gonna get to do that show in Detroit. And but I thought, I've got my codeine, I'll be all right. I can dope myself up, and I can do it. Chuck Morgan drank all of my codeine cough syrup. And I said, I've got to go do a show in Detroit. And I didn't have anything, so I rubbed vapor rub on the bottom of my feet. And I was young enough to still wear heels. And I remember those nuns, and everybody was having a big time, and they were raffling off purses, and I was sliding around in my heels and vapor rub. He watches Viking shows, and then there's Game of Thrones and all that. I cannot watch it. All that. I hate it. I can hear all that while I'm brushing my teeth. It's gross. It's porn. It's porn. Tennessee Children's Hospital in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it was a local Dancing with the Stars for local celebrities. And I'm a big deal in Knoxville. So they asked me to do this, and I didn't want to do it because they put you in a bikini with fringe sewn on it, just like they do on ABC. You're practically naked in front of everybody you've ever known. And I had been eating white flour, and I was in a bad place, and I didn't want to do it, but I thought, isn't that selfish of me? That's sick little children. And they raised so much money for them. So I said I would do it. And they put me with this precious partner, Daniel, a big old boy. And we were going to do the cha-cha to Earth, Wind, and Fire, September. And we practiced for 6 weeks, and we begged for money during the day and danced at night. And it was so stressful. So one night, we were practicing, he kind of slung me hard, and I thought, oh my gosh, something doesn't feel right. So I went to bed, and I got up the next morning, and this big thing was sticking out about right here, and I thought, oh my gosh, is that backed up poop? And because I have trouble with that. And I called my girlfriend, Emily, and I said, I think I've got backed up poop. And she said, I don't think poop goes up that far. And so she looked on her WebMD on her iPad and found a picture of a man that looked like an alien coming out of him. And she said, is that it? And I said, yes. And she said, you got a hernia. So like 4 days before the event, I had a hernia that had to be operated on. So I went in for that operation, and my 2 teenage girls that are usually so hateful, okay, they stepped in and learned to dance in 4 days. So the night of the event, I came out in a wheelchair to Proud Mary Keep On Turning. And they did that video, that dance. If you remember when Tina Turner would do that and it looked like a car wash, do y'all remember that? And what I learned in that whole thing, what I'm trying to tell you, what I learned in that whole thing was that if something bad, really bad happened to me, God forbid, like a bad sickness, my husband and my children would let me die. After I had that hernia surgery, I laid up in the bed for 3 days and nobody checked on me. Okay, the 5 love languages. All right, me and Chuck Morgan in Sunday school class went on a retreat, and they talked to us about the 5 love languages. You know, and it's written by little Gary Chapman, who is a doll and tiny and does, that man's probably getting in his 90s, and he does sit-ups every day. And that little thing, and I got to meet him later, he was a doll. But anyway, the 5 love languages, if you don't know about that, you've got to get it. There was a 5 love languages for your marriage, and then there's one for your children. And you need to get that. Everybody's got a love language. And you take the test. You got to read the book and take the test. Well, you don't read the book, I didn't. But you can take the test. I like to read books about Hollywood murder. So, anyway, you take the test, and then you can, and your husband takes the test, and you find out what his love language is, and he finds out what your love language is. And if you find that out, then you can feed them their love language. And then, so I can feed Chuck Morgan his love language, and then his love tank fills full. If I don't, he could go to work and be at a water fountain, and some whore comes up to him and starts feeding him his love language, and then he feels a tingle, and then Satan swoops in. So these are the 5 love languages. Quality time. If you may know somebody that just wants you to sit on the couch and watch ESPN with them. Something like that. Then there's gifts. That's my sister's love language. It doesn't have to be something expensive. If you, just so you thought of her, if you buy her a card and a rose from the grocery store, she'll bawl her eyes out. And then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. But physical touch. Physical touch, which I know every woman in here is like, that's my husband. Physical touch, but it's not that kind of physical touch. We're talking about the physical, you know, when you know people that just want to hug you and squeeze on you and all that all the time. That's their love language, is physical touch. But women think, oh, that's my husband's and he's on me like a duck on a jukebox. But that's not the. All right, then there's words of affirmation. That's mine. So all Chuck Morgan has to do is say, you look beautiful tonight. You are a good mama. That Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata is to die for. And then my love tank feels full, and then I'm willing to do something vulgar with him. And then he gives me money to get my hair highlighted. See? It works out, you know? It's God's way. And then my husband's is acts of service. So for him to feel loved, I have to go in the garage and build a set of shelves. My husband and I both play sports, and we love sports. And I know y'all are thinking, you sissy thing, you didn't play sports, but I did. I should have cared more. I was worried about my hair. But anyway, we loved it, and we pushed our 4-year-old, our oldest, when he was 4, we made him do T-ball. And I was thinking about it because it's T-ball season right now. And T-ball, if you don't know anything about T-ball season, it's about 110 degrees outside. The games last about 3 hours. It's little children with, looks like they got a pull-up on under their baseball pants. Nobody ever hits the ball, throws the ball, makes contact with the ball. My boy hated it and laid in a fetal position on his glove the entire season. And every once in a while, he'd pop his little head up and say, water. And my middle child was about 2 1/2 at the time, and I said, please take your brother bottled water out there to the field. And she was 2 1/2. She had her crown and her wand and her tutu and her pink prostitute shoes from Walmart on. She went running out to the field and stopped and got a glazed look over her eyes, pulled her panties to the side, and pooped in the T-ball field. I had to run out there and get a stick and flick it into the woods because I didn't want another child to step in it or think it was a milk dud. But he refused to play sports until he was probably about in middle school. He was so traumatized by all of that.